So Cracker Barrel goes off the rails as the chain faces another crazy backfire that just gets worse with, every new scandal. Now, as you all know, Cracker Barrel has built its name on just being the place that families could count on during a road trip or a weekend outing. But now Cracker Barrel is dealing with now new kitchen scandals coming in from New York Post that have shaken that trust. You see, inside reports describe Cracker Barrel staff just struggling with the disorganization and mismanagement that customers can see in the food being served. Now, the Cracker Barrel brand itself, once tied to reliability, is now being tied to crisis. Okay, so the reporting actually describes kitchens under strain, with employees facing confusion and pressure while just simply trying to keep up with orders. Food safety violations have been documented, and the chain is now facing even more growing backlash as those stories continue to spread. Now, a brand built on a southern comfort and reliability just cannot survive when the headlines are filled with terms like turmoil and even scandal. Now, this isn't just a minor issue at all. It's a threat to the company's entire identity. Okay, so the scandals for this company simply have led to, serious public concern, where customers are going online to share their experiences, and many are saying that they won't return until the company cleans up its act, as well as fire the CEO. Now, the image of freshly cooked, dependable meals have been replaced with, doubt about whether the food is even prepared under proper standards. Okay. Now, that change undercuts everything the brand was built on before. Once trust in a restaurant's kitchen is broken, the entire operation is now at risk. Okay. So you have employees that are still bearing the brunt of the fallout right now. Reports still point to a workforce that's frustrated and overworked, dealing with, a lack of direction from corporate leadership, including the CEO. Now, the strain on staff creates a vicious cycle. With disorganization leads to mistakes, mistakes lead to customer backlash, and backlash simply just drives morale even lower. Now, it's clear that the people working in the restaurants are just caught in the middle of a bad leadership crisis that they didn't create, but are now forced to go ahead and handle themselves, which is pretty messed up, by the way. So the company's leadership is now in full damage control mode. Okay, so the executives are now promising, claiming to promise fixes and rolling out new initiatives to go ahead and try to repair the brand. But the public has seen repeated failures, and empty promises won't bring customers back through the door. Okay, so it just takes more than a press release to rebuild trust in food safety and quality. Now, Cracker Barrel executives are learning the hard way that credibility is earned daily, and they're starting from behind. You see, reports say the scandals are driving customers away, which translates into falling revenue and declining investor confidence. Now, Cracker Barrel is already, facing many challenges in basically a crowded dining market, and this crisis only adds to the pressure. Now, with lawsuits and even regulatory investigations looming, the costs could climb even higher. Now, Wall Street pays close attention to customer trust, and right now, Cracker Barrel's trust deficit is actually, well, say the least, glaring. Now, this situation didn't develop overnight with Cracker Barrel. You see, according to reports, warning signs were ignored for far too long, not only from the board member and Steak and Shake CEO Sardar Biglari, but also was reported from employees, where food mishandling and kitchen disorganization don't just appear suddenly. They build over time when oversight is actually weak. Now, the fact that it reached this point simply shows that the executives failed to take early warning seriously. Okay, so that particular negligence now threatens the long-term health of the brand itself. Accountability at the top has been misleading, and the results are just clear, and just say least. Now, the public's response has been swift, where negative reviews are spreading and videos are still exposing the problems inside the restaurants that are widely shared. Okay, so once mainstream outlets, just pick up the story and stuff, the narrative becomes nearly impossible to control. And Cracker Barrel now has to go ahead and contend with the reality that its reputation as a dependable choice has been replaced simply with headlines about the kitchen turmoil and scandal. Now, that shift is devastating for a brand that depended on trust as its foundation. Okay, so the damage is especially severe because the chain sells itself on nostalgia and tradition. The customers who once saw Cracker Barrel as a safe option during road trips or even family gatherings are just no longer certain about its reliability anymore. So the company itself can advertise its history and values all at once, but in reality, those messages don't matter if the food itself is just viewed with suspicion. Now, the kitchen from Cracker Barrel is the core of the brand, and right now, that particular core has been exposed, as weak. So the crisis has also highlighted how difficult it is to win customers back once that trust is lost. Restaurants still depend on repeat business, and even small declines in customer traffic can have big financial consequences. Now, if a family decides to just choose another chain over Cracker Barrel because of safety concerns, well, let's be honest. That's revenue lost forever. Okay. Multiply that across thousands of locations and the impact becomes enormous. So, yeah, once the public starts walking away, the slide is hard to even stop. The employees have been vocal about their struggles too. The chaos in the kitchens doesn't just, affect customers, but it also wears down the staff who are trying to keep the system afloat. Okay. Now, reports also describe a breakdown in communication and oversight, with workers left unsure of what standards to follow. And as you all know, when communication doesn't happen from the top and stuff, and it's going down, and if the communication from the bottom, which are the employees, go up to the higher ups, well, the whole thing collapses, and then there's major backlash that comes with it. I mean, a lot of you all work in different industries where you work for a company, and the people who are at the top don't paying attention to the people that's happening in the employee level. I mean, that's everywhere, not just businesses and restaurants, but retail and even the education system itself. But when management fails to provide clarity, the result is confusion that simply spills over into every plate served. Now, the workers on the ground see these problems firsthand, but the leadership has been slow to respond. Okay, so executives are now facing a choice between real reform and more surface level promises, especially ones they can't keep. Now, cleaning up the kitchens, investing in staff training, and even enforcing strict oversight are the only ways to go ahead and begin regaining credibility. And honestly, what I mean by, staff training, I mean, like, not for the whole DEI initiatives, but how to go ahead and maintain proper health codes and stuff to avoid violations, as well as to avoid multiple lawsuits from the customers themselves. Okay, but those steps still require resources and a willingness to it meant failure. Okay, something that corporations are often too reluctant to do. Now, if Cracker Barrel just chooses to rely on public relations instead of just real change, well, the decline for them will just only continue, as you all know. Now, the lawsuits and regulatory actions mentioned in the reports are also another looming threat. Now, once food safety violations affect legal attention, the costs go beyond public image, especially for Cracker Barrel. Fines, settlements, and even compliance requirements can drain resources. The investors know this, which is why confidence actually drops quickly after scandals like these. You see, every headline about kitchen turmoil makes the financial picture even worse, okay? And no brand can afford to ignore that particular reality. But for Cracker Barrel, the biggest challenge is just timing. The longer it takes to clean up the kitchens and restore order, the deeper the damage goes. Okay, so customers just don't wait around for companies to fix themselves. They just move on to competitors. And every day Cracker Barrel delays real action is another day of lost sales and fading loyalty. Now, recovery becomes harder with each passing week that the problems remain unresolved. And the article also makes it clear that the company's image has shifted dramatically. Cracker Barrel was, as you all know, once a dependable name in dining, but now it's associated with turmoil and scandal. Now, that damage didn't come from critics or competitors, okay? It just came from Cracker Barrel's own kitchens, okay? Thanks to the bad decisions of the higher ups. The disconnect between the brand's promises and its execution has been exposed in the harshest way possible. And the result, as you all know, is the collapse of credibility that won't be easy to undo, okay? So, yeah, Cracker Barrel stands at a crossroads where it can confront the failures, overhaul its kitchens, and rebuild customer trust through transparency and accountability. Or it could just continue trying to patch the damage with words and just watch its reputation sink even further. Now, the reporting leaves no doubt. The brand's survival depends on actions, not slogans. If the chain wants to act decisively, the public will treat, Cracker Barrel as another name that couldn't live up to its own image. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Be sure to smash the like button, share the video far wide across social media. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell for future uploads, notifications, and I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, peace.